My father didn't teach me to ride a bike. He taught me how to legally displace families. At 12, I wasn't playing video games. I was serving eviction notices. He sat me down in his hazy office, sliding a heavy ledger across the mahogany desk, and said, "You've got the head for business, son. I trust you to run the floor better than those idiots I hire." At first, the rush of authority was intoxicating. While other 7th graders were trading Pokemon cards, I was walking the halls of a 12-unit apartment complex, clip-on tie straight, collecting cash rents in envelopes. The tenants looked at me with a mix of confusion and fear. They knew I was the owner's son, the gatekeeper to their housing. "Mr. Vance," old Mrs. Higgins would stammer, her hands shaking as she counted out 20s. "Please tell your father the radiator is still hissing." I'd nod, clicking my pen with practiced arrogance, and make a note in the ledger. "I'll have a contractor out by Tuesday, provided your balance is cleared." I learned the dark arts of property management before I learned algebra. I knew how to spot a lie about a late paycheck, how to calculate prorated interest on security deposits, and exactly how many days a tenant could legally go without hot water before we risked a citation. I was genuinely proud of my efficiency. I had a ruthless system. Mondays were for auditing the maintenance logs and cross-referencing receipts. Wednesdays were for rent collection and issuing warnings. Fridays, I'd inspect vacant units, checking for scuffs on the baseboards that justified keeping a deposit. Other parents would see me at the hardware store, negotiating bulk prices on copper piping with the manager, and they'd stop in the aisle. One contractor actually pulled his truck over while I was walking home. "Kid, you running the site today?" he asked, leaning out the window. When I told him I was handling the vendor contracts, he looked sick to his stomach. He asked where my dad was, why I wasn't at soccer practice. I recited the script Dad drilled into me. "I'm an apprentice learning the value of hard work." During a guidance counselor meeting in November, my math teacher brought up that I was using class time to fill out small claims court paperwork. "He's incredibly focused," she told my dad, sliding a completed writ of possession across the desk. "I've never seen a student with this grasp of legal jargon." Dad beamed, leaning back in his chair like he owned the school. "He's a shark. Doesn't waste time on video games. He's building an empire." But the counselor didn't smile. Her eyes darted from the legal documents to my dad's relaxed posture. Then the air left the room. "Mr. Sterling," she said, her voice dropping to a whisper that sounded like a scream. "Your son is 12. He shouldn't be evicting families or managing contractor disputes. That isn't mentorship. That is financial abuse and child labor." That's when the floor dropped out from under me. I looked at the empire in my binder. I thought about my friend Jason. Jason's biggest stress was whether he could beat the water level in Mario. My biggest stress was whether the tenant in 4B was going to assault me when I posted the notice on his door. None of my friends knew the statutory limit for a noise complaint. None of them had to decide if a single mother got an extension or an eviction. None of them felt the crushing weight of knowing a family was homeless because I did my math right. The counselor called it instrumental parentification. She explained that children shouldn't be the shield between a landlord and his angry tenants. She made me see that other kids were allowed to be soft. They didn't have to harden their hearts to survive a Tuesday afternoon. They didn't know you could use a loophole in the lease to avoid fixing a furnace. I'm 19 now, and I run my own business with terrifying efficiency. I can read a contract in seconds and spot a loophole from a mile away. I'm grateful I'll never be broke. But I also know my empathy was surgically removed, one eviction notice at a time. I can negotiate a deal better than any CEO twice my age, but I will never, ever make my future son the boss of anything other than his own toy chest.